Hello.
All right.
What's good, man? Dres from Black
Everything's good.
Sheep.
All right. Yeah, man. Good to be with you, man. Pardon me missing the prior engagement, but definitely all good today, man. Appreciate
We're
it.
here, and all that means is that you got to answer every question that I ask. Which,
That's fair.
So
That's
I was
fair.
like, oh, I got him now. I was like, let me add this to the fucking list.
All right.
No, thank you, man. We appreciate you. Episode 40, Dres, Black Sheep, Queens get the money. Even though everybody thinks you're from the Bronx. Can you hear me?
Yeah, this is so true. So true.
Yeah.
But it's all good though. Like, this is my word. Like most of my New York life, unless you knew me from Queens, people always thought I was from somewhere else. Like, what I'm saying? That's my word. Cats used to think I was from Brooklyn. I mean, that I get the Bronx because, when I came out, I was living in the Bronx and, like I spent a lot of years in the Bronx. What it is actually is like, when you're a youngster and you finally have enough money to afford an apartment, it doesn't matter where it's at. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that was me in the Bronx. Like, like that was me able to afford my first apartment, and it happened. I happened to be on Valentine and 183rd, and Valentine.
Word.
That's all I was.
Couple quick ground rules before we get going. If you guys got questions, please use the questions feature below. It has a question mark, and I can pull it up. Also, if you guys get wild in the comments, I'm kicking you out because that shit is distracting. Couple quick things, man. I do a monthly show with brother Jake from X Clan. We just finished, and he said say peace. So I just wanted to share that while it was on my mind.
I haven't too long. Good do.
Yeah. So, and I was just playing this Similac child, and I was thinking I used to piss my mom off like walking around the house like barking like all the fucking time, yo. Like irritating the hell out of her. So that's why I actually played that shit because it was
little known fact. On like there was a few samples on the album on the Wolf and Sheeps that didn't get cleared, and so the dog barking was actually coming out of a skit that was supposed to be in front of Similac. We had this skit over this I think it was Cal Jader sample, and it was dope. It was a mad smooth loop, you know what I'm saying? And it was me talking to this girl. But every time you heard my voice, you'd hear the dog barking. You know what I'm saying? And it was just a conversation. But and she talking to be all crystal clear, and it's just a cool loop. But every time I come in, is the dog barking, you know what I'm saying?
Shit.
And so, yeah, it was mad cool. It was like, so the conversation started dying down, but you still hear the dog barking. And then Similac rolled up out of that. You know what I'm saying? But it just it didn't pan out like that. But that was the original schematic, you know what I'm saying? It was pretty flat.
Oh shit. That's a dope story. Yo, your wiki page is incorrect. Who running your wiki page?
You know what? I have never looked at my wiki page.
Your wiki page, it had me do like I had a glitch in the matrix when it said, the last line it says, he is also the older brother of Chia Lee. And I'm
yeah. Well,
I'm like, that's just been squashed a long time ago.
If that's the last line, I wouldn't trust the word on it. You know what I'm saying? For word.
Yeah, so I don't even know if is it really you that I'm talking to? I don't even know. I mean,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, it might not be at these days, man. Everything is definitely on a whole different level.
Yeah, and I gotta say, as I was prepping for this interview, what came to me is like how much I was 15 when your joint dropped.
Right.
And so I realized, I was like, your biggest influence on me was turning me into like this smart ass dude with the chicks and fucking because I even posted on it. We used to fucking call chicks strobe light honeys. Me and my crew used to be like, yo, I gotta go. Like, so all these chicks, and it was like the slick witty shit. I was like, we was always trying to like just fucking like do that shit, like teachers, chicks, and everybody. It was always like some slick double talking.
What up?
So yeah, the rewind factor with your shit was high when I was 15. I was like, yo, what the fuck did this cat say, man? So who was influencing you?
Yo, man, I grew up around some real characters, bro, like sincerely. So, but some smooth cats at the same time. You know, like shoot, my father for one. My father was, damn near a pimp. You know what I'm saying? Like he had, he had he had a lot of women that had a lot of love for him. You know what I'm saying? And that was regardless of him being married to my mom. You know what I'm saying? Like my pops used to take me around with him a lot when I was young. So like he used to be he used to be a hustler. He used to hustle. Like that's what he did for a living when I was a kid. And so I'd be hanging out with him, you know what I'm saying, just being with my father. And we'd make a stop by various women's houses, you know what I'm saying? And of course, I'd never see anything that made me feel uncomfortable. It wasn't like, like he was, like all over these women and nothing. But as I got older, it just appeared to me that, like we made a lot of stop at a lot of women's houses for no obvious reason whatsoever.
How young were you? How young were you?
I'm 6, 7, 8 years old, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And old enough to talk, but but I'm not seeing anything. So it's not like, we just stopped by some of Dad's friends' houses.
You just stopping by, but then as you pieced it together as you got older, like, oh, okay.
Right. Yeah, Pop's got a lot of friends, you know what I'm saying? But just to say but these are initial imprints, you know what I'm saying, on me, and just how he carried himself. And then I had a lot of friends that were just sharp cats, you know what I'm saying, like straight up, like, official cats, that did what they did without, paying tax, you know what I'm saying, and to various degrees, like we were like brothers and family. And so I got to see firsthand and even walk a few steps in various directions. So all of that played part. And another thing too, me moving to the South, being from New York, like there wasn't nothing you couldn't tell me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I thought I was just the coolest cat you're ever gonna meet. You know what I'm saying?
You probably were though, especially back then. I mean, let's keep it 100 for real.
So yes. So I had a variety of influence, you know what I'm saying? So, and one of my influences was actually this cat, this country cat. I call him a country cat, but he's one of the smartest cats you'd ever meet. It's this dude by the name of Paris. And I met him in Sanford, North Carolina. And this is my word, to have a conversation with him, you would think he was just extremely slow. Every word is very drawled, very deliberate, you know what I'm saying, and what he's saying to you. And he's wanting you to think that he's slow. Like that's how sharp he is. He wants you to think that, that he's easy to manipulate. And like he's one of those cats, before you realize how deep you are in with him, you know what I'm saying, it's too late. You know what I'm saying? Like he was just a sharp cat. And everybody, most of the people I knew hated him, and wondered why me and him was so cool. Me and him was so cool was because he never betrayed me. You know what I'm saying? I seen him betray 1,000 people, but he never betrayed me. You know what I'm saying? So me and him had one of the best relationships, two dudes, you know what I'm saying? Like that was my dude. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I knew how he got down with a lot of cats, but I couldn't base my relationship with him on how he dealt with other people. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
And that's just what it was,
Right. I'm like that too. I mean, because a lot of people look at it like, oh, you do somebody else dirt. I mean, it's like, yo, you handle yours on your own. Like that's
right.
That's
now, don't get it twisted. I knew what he was capable of.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't a fool in the matter. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, like there was certain tests that that he passed to be who he was to me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure both ways. But just as far as a shrewd person, very smart, very calculating, you know what I'm saying? But very slow and very deliberate. You know what I'm saying? And he come at you like that, very slow and very deliberate. You know what I'm saying? And the whole time you talking to him, you 10 miles ahead of him. You know what I'm saying? But you think. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you think.
But he's one step ahead of you. You know what I'm saying? Where I grew up around some real sharp cats, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I can tell. It came. All your music was on some. It was some slick shit, and I really like. I mean, I definitely credit like my freshman year of high school just being like a wise ass, like with the chicks. Like, yeah, I mean, we all the time we have to dances and shit. I gotta go. The fucking chicks. So, take us to the timeline, yo, because I'm curious about like Queens to BX, North Carolina. Like, what was that timeline about?
I mean, it was just me living life, man. You know, born in New York. My parents, both my parents are from the Bland Projects in Flushing, second and third building, respectfully. They met, my father, like I said, was a hustler. And my mom was really young when they got together, but she kind of had always kind of dug him. You know what I'm saying? Like she was like, you know, like a project chick that's seeing like a boss, you know what I'm saying? And smitten with him. So so she kind of crushed on him for years, and he kind of saw her grow. And to hear the story is like when she was, you know, blossomed as a flower, I picked that, you know, like all of, you know, all of the whatever. Yeah, you know, so they wound up getting together, and the year I'm born, they get married, and we get a crib in Astoria Projects the year I'm born. And so, you know, but the Bland and Flushing was home. That's where my grandparents live. My grandparents had 13 kids. So I had a bunch of aunts and uncles in the projects. I had a million cousins. The Vargas family in the Bland Projects were very well known, very well respected. It is my family. That's home. But you know, but I was in the Astoria Projects, and you know, like I'd be in the Bland on the weekends with my father or with my grandparents. But Monday through Friday was me, you know, making my way in Astoria Projects. And, you know, it didn't take long before the entire projects knew me. My nickname was Tiki. And, you know, like there wasn't no part of Astoria Projects where, you know, like cats didn't know me. And this is my word. This is as a youngster. Like I snatched my first pocketbook at 11 years old, running with older cats, you know what I'm saying? And to vividly remember that, like, you know, like I remember dragging, you know, a woman down the street for her pocketbook at 11. And I can't imagine a child of mine at 11 years old doing that. You know, so I can't even imagine it.
Right,
you know
doesn't make any sense.
Right. But you know, but this is me coming up. I was probably like 10 years old, and you know, like I had so much freedom as a kid, you know, like let alone like, you know, like I'm already outside running around in a large project. But you know, like I had to come home when the lights came on, you know, when I'm that young. So this particular day, I had an older friend, my man Tyrone. He might have been, if I'm 10, he might have been 15. He was like, yo, I got to run to Brooklyn to pick up my little brother. You want to come with me? I was like, yeah, bet. What 10-year-old is leaving the projects without saying anything to their parents, going to another borough on a train and coming home? So by the time I get home, my mom's been looking for me forever. It's dark, you know what I'm saying? Like she's ready to kill me. She's literally crying, you know what I'm saying? And that's the kid I was, you know what I'm saying? Like that's who I was as a kid. So when my parents separated and divorced, and my mom met my stepfather, he was in the Army, and he got stationed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. So that was how I got to North Carolina. We moved to Fort Bragg, you know what I'm saying? I was which is in Fayetteville.
How old were you then, roughly?
I was like probably like maybe 14.
Okay.
Somewhere around there, you know what I'm saying, 13, 14, you know what I'm saying? And you know, and so I started, you know, high school at E.E. Smith in Fayetteville, which was one of the dopest experiences, you know what I'm saying, for me as coming from where I'm coming from. Because I expected it to be predominantly a predominantly white situation that was very racist. I'm looking for the racist South that, you know, that you hear about growing up in New York.
Right. So
I'm looking for it, but going to E.E. Smith, a school that's predominantly black and progressive, and you know what I'm saying, like really had their shit together, you know what I'm saying, and it broadened my horizons. I'm playing in a marching band. I started playing the trumpet. I learned how to play the trumpet. I'm in the marching band. I'm in a jazz ensemble. I'm in an elite choir. I'm playing tennis, and I had never played tennis in my life. I just grew up playing handball, so the mechanics were the same. So the first year I played tennis, I'm a varsity letterman. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm doing all kinds of stuff. The school I went to in New York didn't even have a football team, let alone me being a marching band performing at, you know, in you know, like it was just a whole gamut of things that I would have never even had the opportunity to do, let alone take school seriously. I was a good student, you know what I'm saying? I started applying myself because that's what everybody around me was doing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's almost like, you know, like when you step on a basketball court, like, you know, like if everybody's nice, then in time you will be too. You know what I'm saying? But you just have to assert yourself. You just have to meet the ball. You just have to meet the ball. You know what I'm saying? If everybody's nice and you're falling below the ball, then your aim is to meet the ball. So my aim was, you know, not only to meet the ball, but to excel. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to come on the court and I wanted to be one of the nicest cats in the class, let alone the court. You know what I'm saying? So that played to my advantage. I took typing one. I represented my high school in a statewide typing competition before computers. You know what I'm saying? Like literally at this moment right now, I could type 55, 60 words a minute, literally right now, just because I took typing one and typing two and took it seriously. But the only reason I took typing one and typing two was because that's where those were electives that girls would be in, you know. But my whole goal was to be a better typer than they were. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, but how well that played to my advantage in 2021. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like little things like that has been my walk. Little things I did for no reason, just organically became something that I was appreciative that I did, you know?
That's dope that you got so much out of that school and you can remember it and you took so much from that. That's a really positive experience in American education that most kids don't get. So
I've been to various
public school students anyway for the most part.
Various schools. It's the only school that I can shout like that. Literally, it's the only school that I can shout like that. You know, I've been to various schools and seen various things in various states. But E.E. Smith, that's a special spot. I believe J. Cole went there. I believe a few different cats went there. You know what I'm saying? And yo, the spot is dope. You know what I'm saying? It's a dope high school, and like I said, it's damn near like going to a black college. You know what I'm saying? It was all right.
No, that's dope. So, so I think I saw in an interview that you said in the beginning there was a third Black Sheep member or something.
Yeah, man. My man Stan. It was like when I moved to Sanford, which was the opposite of Fayetteville and E.E. Smith. Sanford was all white. I found the racism that I had heard about. I found it in Sanford. You know what I'm saying? But just to say, you know, but there was this crew of cats that I got mad cool with. All of us were from New York, and my man Stan had equipment. You know what I'm saying? So that his house became the go-to. You know what I'm saying? Like every day we was in Stan's crib, and you know, like that's just what it was. You know, he had equipment. We on the turntables. We rhyming. We DJing for each other. We wasn't even really thinking about making a record or anything like that. It was just what we did because we were from New York, in North Carolina, and my man had equipment, and his mom was cool enough to let us smoke and drink 40s. So every day, that's where we hung out. But if you do something every day, just for the love of it, you know, little did we know that was the training grounds for us to become professional, you know, hip hop musicians, you know, and, you know, but, and like by the time we got to the place where we were doing what we were doing, we were well acclimated, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we also were fortunate enough to come up amongst the native tongue, you know, De La, you know, like the quintessential group of hip hop. Jungle Brothers, Tribe Called Quest, you know what I'm saying? Like Moni, Latifah, you know what I'm saying? Like these are cats that are superior lyricists, superior producers, you know what I'm saying? Like just the artistry that, and mind you, we'd all be in the room at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Like we'd all be in the same studio session. Like it was just, I didn't realize how special it was. Well, I kind of had an idea, but you know, but it's something that I've never really been a part of to that magnitude since before or after. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was just dope. Like, you know, and it was very selfless where it didn't matter whose session it was. We was all there. That's where we were all meeting at. And whoever session it was, you know, like they're working on something and we're all taking it in, you know, like, you know, no one wants to say anything, you know, negative, which we wouldn't, but if we had something that would make it better, we would add that. You know what I'm saying? We might make that suggestion. Not to say that it was always heated, because, you know, if someone felt strongly about what they're doing, then, you know, then it was just a suggestion that bounced off the wall. But if someone was in a place where, you know what, that sounds dope, we were all selfless enough to make the record better. You know what I'm saying? So if it was my session and somebody made a dope suggestion, I might implement it. And the same if I made a suggestion and someone else was in the booth, they might implement it. And whether they did or whether they didn't hurt anyone in the room. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were all that cool, all that friendly, and had that much love for each other. You know what I'm saying? And we all knew where it came from. We all knew it came from a place of wanting to see you at your best, and, you know, like it being reflective of the group. Like any one of us being dope was all of us being dope, and we all got that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, like it was a dope time in my life and in hip hop. You know.
How did you first link up with them?
Through Long. Like, when Long, I was a few years older than Long, so when Long wound up coming back to New York, I came back to New York when I finished high school. When Long finishes school, he comes back as well, and me and him, happenstance, pass each other on a Manhattan street, and he really didn't have a place to stay, but for years he had been coming back and forth. He had got cool with Red because Red had seen him DJing at a concert that we got Long to be able to DJ before the show started in Raleigh, at an arena in Raleigh. And he was so small that he had to stand on milk crates so that he could stand above the turntables. But he was deftly nice, you know what I'm saying? Like, very precise, very quick, you know what I'm saying? And so Red was impressed. And Red gives him his number and is like, yo, you know, like, when you're in New York, you like, look me up. Red, so the next summer, Long was in New York, you know, for the summer. So he gets up with Red. Red has him in the studio with the Jungle Brothers while the Jungle Brothers are making their first album. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how far back Long goes as far as their relationship. So Long is there when everybody's really coming together, but he's going back and forth because, you know, like, he was living in Carolina at the time, but every summer he'd come back to New York. So Long basically, you know, had a strong relationship with cats, unbeknownst to me, when we hooked back up. So when we hooked back up, you know, like, he starts introducing me to cats that, you know, like, bringing me by the studio sessions. And it was like we all became fast friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was really cool. You know what I'm saying? And once me and Long got to the space where we were like, you know, like, for us to start putting some of our stuff together, you know, like, we had a built-in family to bounce our ideas off of, you know. And, you know, like, you know, when you're bouncing ideas off of Tribe, when you're bouncing ideas off of De La, Jungle, Red Alert, you know, Chris Lighty was our first manager. You know what I'm saying? Like we were well on our way, and we had done the groundwork in Carolina. Me and Long were already very comfortable with each other. You know, like we could play off of each other at the drop of a dime because we had a very good sense of each other's ability. And you know, like, it was on and popping from there. You know, it was on and popping from there. And you know, success, we definitely got some quick success with the first project. And success, you know, can do a lot. Success a lot of times just amplifies who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, money amplifies who you are. You know what I'm saying? Yes. And so just different things took place, and, you know, some of I think the realities of maybe who both of us were at that point in life, you know, kind of just wasn't meshing. And you know, like, we never got to the place where we were enemies and no shit like that. But
Okay.
but we definitely hit a space where, you know, like, just for the integrity of our relationship, it might be best for us to part ways. You know, and, you know, and sometimes, you know, when you part your ways, you know what I'm saying, and you get adjusted to being on your own and doing your own thing, then, you know, then you're not in a rush to reconcile or to work something out that wasn't working. You know what I'm saying? You're like, nah, you know, I'm good. You know, and not that it can't happen, but it has to happen a certain way. And if it doesn't happen a certain way, then you're really not pressed about it. And that might be the case for both of us, you know, respectfully.
Yo, how come there was never really a full, like, native tongue. You liked my post. You saw my post today. Full native tongue joint.
Yo, man, I've been pushing that for years, man.
Oh, really?
I really have, man. That's my word. But you know, like I said, like success. I think once we got to the place where all of us as individual groups didn't need each other to make a living, you know, say like not that it ever was, but once it got to the point where we all definitely were standing on our own, all on the road on our own.
We're doing our own thing.
Right, right.
We're doing our own thing.
Urgency for the collective just wasn't there, and that's unfortunate because in my opinion, you know, it wouldn't take much for us to get together once a year, you know what I'm saying, and tour for a month, and maybe, you know, while we're on tour for a month, to have a recording studio on the road with us, and for us to record 12 cuts, 15 cuts. Easy, you know what I'm saying?
It's in the ether right now, man, for real. Like
exactly, you know what I'm saying? And literally once a year we get together, go around the world, you know what I'm saying? Doing music, performing and recording, and you know, and we put it out on our own distribution network. You know, like it's so like we made these records about unity. We made these records about self-empowerment. We made these records about, you know what I'm saying, taking care of community, and, you know, the importance of just us as a community making moves together and supporting each other. And what's frustrating for me is that it was important that we be a microcosm of the things we were asking the people to be. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
And, you know what I'm saying? And I think we still have the opportunity to this day, and it's really important that the people see it, because the records that we made are asking people to do something that we didn't do. You know what I'm saying? And that's hurtful to me. Where, you know, like, you can't write a check to native tongue. That's just embarrassing to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like, it should be a company that all of us are on the board of, and that we are leaving to all of our children.
It should be like Hyro.
Yeah, I mean? like Wu-Tang.
Like comparison, whatever. It should. Yeah, it should have been more. You know,
if you talk to Hyro, if you talk to Wu-Tang, if you talk to most collectives, their inspiration was the natives. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, so it's kind of like, you know, it's bittersweet for sure. You know.
Yeah, it is, because as fans, and everyone's like, "Yo, we want that, man." Like I always thought, like when I heard, you know, Buddy, and I see you guys, like everyone jumped on joints here and there, you know, Saturday, this and that, whatever, you know, all the joints. But it was like, yo, I was always hungry, and I'm still hungry because everybody's still nice, so it don't matter to me. Like 20 years later, like it ain't shit.
I gotta give me 1 second. I gotta run and grab a charger.
Do your thing.
My phone playing with me. But I'll be back in 10 seconds. Bro. Pardon me, y'all. I don't mean to have y'all on hold. Let me find a charger.
It's all good. Dres Black Sheep.
All right.
I'm gonna ask him, what happened to Stan? We gotta find out what happened to Stan. See what the questions are. I think he's in New York. Somebody asked about Waikiki. I think that question got answered. I think he's still in Charlotte. I mean, right now he's in Puerto Rico, I think. We got a half hour though, so I'm gonna put something. Right. Yo, what happened to Stan?
Plugged in.
Can you hear me? I be yelling and shit. Sorry, I'm all yelling.
All right, we cool. For me, brother.
Nah, that's what I was gonna say. What happened to Stan?
Oh man, Stan, like, this is my dude, and this was my heart. Like, I love Stan so much. Like I wish that we had got an opportunity to do an album, the three of us, because it would have been amazing. It would have been amazing. But Stan ran in the streets real heavy, real heavy, right? And quick story. Like when I came back to New York, I kind of jumped out in the streets. Like I said, I'm the son of official hustler. My father's name was Rico Vargas, and like he really did his thing in a big way in Flushing. And so when I get back to Queens, like part of me feels like it's my birthright to jump into the streets. And mind you,
even real quick, even after your experience at that dope ass high school,
yes,
you playing the class, you playing instruments, and you playing tennis and the backhand and shit.
Yo, let me tell you how young and dumb I am. For real. I get back to New York. I get a job working for Senator Orenstein on 42nd Street. He has a law firm. So I'm a file clerk at this law firm working for Senator Orenstein, to which I leave that job. I get another job working as a new accounts representative for Long Island Savings Bank. Now, mind you, I'm not talking about a teller. I got a desk. I got my name on my desk. I'm wearing a suit every day. And like all of the tellers hate me because, but that's how, like whatever test they gave me, like that's where I placed, like I was able to kind of like, skip over being a teller and was literally a new accounts representative being trained to open accounts and do all kinds of things in the banking world. Now I'm making, I guess decent money for that time period, but this is my word. I'm going home and passing by a strip of my friends that I grew up with that literally are putting, like I'm seeing them fold, the G they made today. You know what I'm saying? And I'm, like I'm getting a check at the end of 2 weeks and it's like, like maybe $500-600. You know what I'm saying? And, I'm like just I'm perplexed. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo.
Yeah, there's a glitch in the matrix, right? You like
right. Like, all my friends, like when it's time for them, us to hang out, like I'm the one that's budgeting. All of my friends hustle. And my family hustles. My cousin bought birthday, like everybody's, they're hustling. Everybody I grew up with, they're hustlers. And and they getting money. For real. And like I said, like, like when we hang out, I'm the one that like I literally have a good job and I'm struggling like to just do basic things like, like jeans and sneakers was like an expenditure. So, let alone jewelry and, and renting a car or whatever the hell, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I really look at it like, like, what? I'm talking to my cousin who hustles like, yo, let me just see what, a few hours out here do in relation to, what I'm doing right now. And so, I wound up picking up some work with my cousin and jumping out on the strip with him. And this is my word, like in one night, I had made more than, I would have made in 2 weeks working my job in one night. And that was it for me. I was like, yo, so for a hot second, I was working and hustling. And once I got to the point that I'm bringing work to work, you know what I'm saying? I was like, I'm doing too much, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of backed up a little bit and so I started hustling and things were going good initially, which is the case a lot of times when you're doing something that you probably shouldn't be doing. It's gonna go well enough to pull you in. And so I get pulled in, and I'm, the cats that I'm family with to this day, like are very major. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like so much so that people don't know who they are. Like you really have to be somebody to know who they are. You know what I'm saying? And I would never front streak them because that's not where we come from with it. You know what I'm saying? So and I've always been respectful of that in my music as well. Like I don't talk about my people because my story involves more than me. You know what I'm saying? So I don't talk about a lot of things as far as the street goes because it's hard for me to tell you my story without telling you remnants of other people's stories. So I kind of just leave that alone for the most part. You can tell I've walked down a block or two and that's enough. So long story short, I get into trouble. I get bagged up when New York started TNT, which is the task force which was put together to combat the crack epidemic, I probably was one of the first 300 to 500 people that got knocked by TNT.
This was like what year?
This
roughly?
is 86, 85, 86. This is 86.
Okay, so
You know what I'm
heavy
saying?
duty then.
And so, huh?
I mean, this was when it was like popping off, like.
Oh yeah,
crack.
yeah.
Yeah.
I seen crack come into fruition, from not existing, from us selling powdered coke to selling crack. Like I was there for that. You know what I'm saying? Like literally.
The transition.
And also, you know, and I you know, I probably was lucky that I was one of the early ones before a lot of the rules changed as far as the sentencing, that I was able to, you know, like I caught a direct sale, possession, what have you. And I was able to, I jumped bail initially, which was bad. I get extradited. I went down to Carolina, jump bail, go down to Carolina, get in some trouble down there, get extradited back to New York, get put on a plane in shackles, get taken off the plane, right, LaGuardia Airport, put into a green Audi. The green Audi drives me to Rikers Island, to which now I can get no bail because I jumped bail. So I have to do my whole court case from Rikers Island. So when G-Rap dropped Rikers Island, I was on Rikers Island. When Larry Davis did his crime and came through Rikers Island, I was there when he got there. Like we talking the real. So
how long you was there for?
10 months. I was on Rikers Island for 10 months, and then I got probated to a halfway house for 10 months. The next year, I was working. I had my own apartment. I had just got my own apartment. I'm working and going to college, trying to get back on the road that I strayed off of way, you know, when I got back to New York. I'm trying to, you know, like so when I say things like, you know, like a shortcut is really the long way in disguise. Like, you know, I'm speaking from experience, you know what I'm saying? But so, you know, so I'm trying to get myself right. And I think God blessed me that, you know, I sincerely was trying to get myself right. That one day I'm coming from lunch, going back to the office. And mind you, at this time, I'm working for a federal agency that works with the homeless. I'm an office manager for the federal, because I could type and word process. That's all nothing to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I could, and I spend words like a millionaire, which is something my man Paris taught me, the country dude. Spend words like a millionaire. You know, don't be afraid to tip. You know what I'm saying? Like just little verbatim, like, you know, little stuff that little players, you know, from the South was on. So back to my man Stan. The quick story I'm trying to tell you is, so I'm in trouble. I'm on Rikers Island. I'm talking to my man Stan on the phone. He's in Carolina. He's like, yo, I'm gonna come see you, man. I'm gonna leave later today. I'll be there tomorrow. I'm gonna come see you tomorrow or the day after. I'm you know, expect me on a visit. I'm like, bet, you know what I'm saying? So next day comes, Stan, no Stan. Day after comes, no Stan. So like I'm like, man, I guess he ain't coming. I guess he ain't come up, whatever. The next day I'm going to chow, breakfast. And I hear somebody on the line like, hey, yo, Dres. I turn around, it's Stan. Online for chow.
What?
Yo, he says to me, yo, I told you I was gonna come see you, baby. That's word to my mother. That's word to my mother. Yo, I'm like, yo. And, you know, like, when he got to New York, he had came up when he said he was coming. He was parking the car. He said he had a thing in his hip. He said when he got out of the car, he said, obviously, an undercover detective walking by saw the thing in his hip and pulls out on him and is like, yo, freeze. He said he closed the door and just started running. He said he cut a block. He said when he cut a block, he pulled it out and threw it. He said when the thing landed, hit the ground, it went off. So now they thinking that he's busting at them. You know what I'm saying? So long story short, you know, they found that. They gave him, you know, a buttload of charges. And, you know, I was off the island before he was, you know, easily. You know what I'm saying? And, you know,
was that?
But yeah, but that was, you know, Stan would go on to have a few unfortunate incidents that just kept him locked up. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't even like he was getting the opportunity to do some of the things he was probably capable of. But, you know, it would just be unfortunate things, and it would be serious things that would keep him kind of just away from us. And you know, so during the whole time we were kind of doing our thing, like, you know, he really wasn't there. He came home and he got strong on the streets again real quick. And that was fleeting again. Like, you know, like the streets, they're nobody's friend, man. You know, like, you know, you can you know, you can always maneuver, but you got to have an ability that, you know, that just isn't common. You know what I'm saying? And I leave it at that. You know.
Yo, I saw and I posted on one of my older pages the video you were talking about. Can you tell the story about you saw KRS One throw PM Dawn off the stage?
I did.
Please tell that shit.
I mean, you know, like it's crazy because, you know, like and you know, and fam, you know, wife is like family to me. Like, you know, like I don't mean it in a way that's belittling, because ultimately, like, you know, like I wound up kind of being a little impressed by their ability. PM Dawn was kind of dope to be on, you know, on some real shit. Like it was.
I talked about that in the show the other day. Like that, if you look back, they you know,
but you know, we you know, and I gotta admit to something, like, you know, like New York, we were music snobs. We were hip hop snobs. You know, like we thought if it didn't come from our soil, that it wasn't real, it wasn't right, and that was wrong. You know what I'm saying? And we wound up having to eat a lot of humble pie behind it. You know what I'm saying? Right. And even at this point right now, you know, the identity of New York hip hop is da-da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? But at the time, like, you know, it's unfortunate that PM Dawn wasn't I'm not gonna say that they weren't allowed to be who they were, because they really were. Much like De La, much like a Public Enemy, much like anybody, much like, you know, Black Sheep, X-Clan, like much like anybody was allowed to be who they were. They were allowed to be who they were, but I think they just crossed the line maybe in an interview when, you know, like in being allowed to be who you are, you got to know who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like once you start really, like, you know, pressing somebody's credibility on some, you know, that's a street cat, you know, like they not coming back at you, you know, with literature. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like you got to be able to walk that. So, you know, like they might have maybe, you know, stepped over something that wasn't for them to step over per se. Long story short, though, what was the club? Sound Factory.
Oh, I rocked. I was at the Sound Factory. Okay.
Yo, popping spot. Because many a night I done came out the Sound Factory and the sun is up.
Oh, of course.
Yo, many a day. The sun, you know what I'm saying? You coming out and it's literally like, you know, like
8, 9 in the morning, like,
you know what I'm saying? Yo,
like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
yo, and this is one of them nights. This is one of them
people
nights.
going to like real jobs and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You going home and everybody's leaving out the building. You know, like,
yeah.
You look, you know, you trying to crawl into your bed. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. So it's one of them nights. But mind you, this is one of our first New York shows, and you know, we've done maybe a handful of shows, but and I'm kind of, you know, like it was kind of cool because Long was able to introduce me to this contingency of artistic cats that you know, the natives and this and the other. But when it came to Black Sheep on the road as Black Sheep, that was where, you know, we were running with my crew. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's my cousin Big F, and you know, we wound up getting cool with a good friend of Cheese. My man Molecules from the Legion was somebody that we running with. You know, like he was like a road manager. You know what I'm saying? And we just had a solid street crew around us. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, but this is more where I'm from as a New Yorker. Long wouldn't have had this ability at this time. Just to say, and that's not a shot at him, but just to say, so I'm talking to my cats and I could feel it in the air. I'm like, yo, something's up in here. I'm just feeling the tension between crews. Like, you know, when you're from New York, you know what it is. So I'm up in there. I'm like, yo, check this out, man. We've only had a handful of shows. I don't know none of these cats up in here. Yeah, I know there's a bunch of artists in here. Yo, this is my word. If anybody step on this stage while we rocking, yo, two-piece them immediately. I don't care who they are. You know what I'm saying? If ain't nobody clearing nothing with us, if they step on this stage, I don't care who they are. Now, mind you, I don't know what's going on. I don't know who's going to do what. But I'm enough of a New Yorker to know, yo, something's up. Something's up. The way cats are moving. And the whole time, it is a setup. There's a setup being perpetrated. You know, cats are putting in position near the turntable, you know, like shit, you know, like Kenny Parker's about, you know, or whoever it was that jumped out, I think it was Kenny Parker, you know, is about to jump on the turntables. Like, you know, you're seeing cats position themselves near the stage. Now, mind you, how it's scheduled, we're supposed to rock after PM Dawn. So when they're maneuvering, I don't know if it's for PM Dawn or are they setting themselves up for who's next? I don't know what's up, but I'm letting my cats know, like, yo, this is my word. Like, later for this show, if it becomes something else, then it's something else. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's clear-headed. Cool. So now I'm trying to look at the show. So I'm standing literally maybe about 7-8 rows from the front, like, because that's me though. Like, I literally want to, you know, I want to take it all in. I want to feel where I'm at, you know, and nobody knows me like that yet. So whereas nobody's looking at me like, oh, you know, like you rocking, and you know, nobody really even knows me like that. So I'm in the cut. Yo, this small word. These cats are on stage rocking, and you just start seeing silhouettes come across the stage. Next thing you know, whoever's on turntables gets yoked, and I'm like, yo, they get yoked, just dragged off the turntables. Yo, KRS saunters, like, you know how he'll do that that saunter, that little skip he does. Yo, he skips across the stage, and I'm not sure if it's Nick Boo or who, like him and somebody else grab whoever's right there. Yank, sling them cats literally like damn near to my feet. I'm like 5 rows out, like, yo, I'm looking at this shit like, oh my God. All of a sudden, it's bam, 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 yo, the bombs and shit, bam, 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 and all of a sudden, I think it was I'm still number one or the bridge, yo, whatever came in, nigga, you talk about pandemonium. Everybody in that place lost their mind. Like, oh my God, like, yo, like, oh my God, like, and I'm like, oh shit, so this was what it was. I was feeling like I knew something was up, you know what I'm saying? And I'm grateful, like, yo, man, I'm glad that wasn't for us. Like, yo, in a real, like, not to say that I was getting thrown off stage, because I definitely wasn't getting thrown off stage, but it just was not going to be good. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Oh man, like, and I was there, like, saw this shit with my own eyes, and KRS goes forward and kills the Sound Factory. Like he just starts dropping joints after joint after joint, and like everybody's already like on 15. Like, you know, the place is on fire. The place is on fire to have witnessed this. You know what I'm saying? It was just insane. And so he kills it, drops the mic. Whoever the promoter is like, all right, Black Sheep, y'all ready? And I'm like, say word. like, yo, say word. Like, yo, like, and this is my word. I remember being like, yo, let me just smoke this L. Cause I knew I had enough sense to be like, yo, give that stage 5 minutes. Just give that stage 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Cause yo, this is my word. It was lava. That's what it was, lava. So, you know, I'll light up an L real quick. So we smoke an L, we chop it up, we laugh, we're dying laughing. Like, yo, that was crazy. And KRS, like, yo, my God, like, woo, just beastly. And so 5 minutes from there, we saw our set, and we kill it. We do our thing. Like hip hop is officially in the house. You know what I'm saying? Like it's an official hip hop spot, and we do our thing. You know what I'm saying? Like to the utmost degree. And you know, and the whole night was dope. Like, it was a lot of performances that night. The whole night was dope, but that without question was the highlight of the night. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I've been there for a lot of things. You know, like I was there when Suge, you know, took the stage at Source Awards. To, you know, like I had relationships with, you know, like some of everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, so go back for a second.
Yeah.
What'd you say? You was there when Suge gave up the Source Awards?
Yeah, when Suge and Snoop, you know, was on the stage, I was right there in the crowd. I was like, you know, like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? I knew it wasn't good. Like, but I saw all of the shit coming way before it got here. You know what I'm saying? Like just how cats were moving, man. Like, we really musically we fell for the okie doke. You know what I'm saying? Like we allowed and I gotta be honest, like New York, I wish we had led in a better way. You know what I'm saying? But we fell for the okie doke where we allowed ourselves to play corners and play sections and coasts to shit that belongs to none of us. You know what I'm saying? To shit that at any time the federal agency wants to, they will show us whose blocks those are, whose coast this is, whose city, whose state. At any time they feel like it, they will explain that to us in the most simplistic, realistic, domineering way man has ever known. You know what I'm saying? But in the meantime, we playing with it instead of unifying it. You know what I'm saying? And that's like that's the thing about hip hop that escapes us a lot of times. Cats have died for the unification of our people, and hip hop has that in spades. Hip hop has that in spades. It could bring us together. It can make us stronger. It can make us smarter. When we start moving as a unit and supporting each other as a unit, like the black dollar is the dollar, is the crux of everything that's going on. Like look what it took for us to see how powerful the black vote is. Black unity is like that in every dimension. It's as strong as the black vote in every dimension. When we come together, there's so much that we're capable of, whether we choose to participate or we choose to not participate. Moving together, we are strong. And when we start breaking it down to a coast or to a street or to a block or to a borough, like that's division. You know what I'm saying? And we're the ones that don't recover from that. Everyone else, it doesn't affect. We're the ones that it affects. And we time and time again allow that to be the situation that we're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? So, in hip hop, like there's still just much like we're talking about the native tongues still have to come into who we were meant to be. The same with hip hop. Like hip hop it was meant to unify. It was meant to empower. You know what I'm saying? And we still got some work to do on that front. We don't trust each other enough to invest with each other. You know what I'm saying? We don't trust each other enough to support each other's business endeavors. You know what I'm saying? And it's wrong. You know what I'm saying? And it's a costly lesson that we learned behind it that we still have not fully grasped. You know what I'm saying? We've come from having prominent cities and prominent locales that were keeping, our businesses and our endeavors and our livelihoods strong. We had banks, we had schools, we had supermarkets, we had doctors, lawyers' offices. All of these things have become things that we don't necessarily support in our own community. We're looking outside of our community for things that that are there. We act like they're not, but they are. And we really have to return to, like for the first time in hip hop, there's probably 100 millionaires. Let's just say there's 100 millionaires. Do you know the power of there being 100 millionaires if 100 cats just put in $10,000 a month or $25,000 a year together to do something for the community? It's not going to hurt you, and it's going to help us and set the example for when there's 200 millionaires, for when there's 500 millionaires. We have to get past the place where we're not pooling our resources and creating greater opportunities because we're so busy trying to create opportunity for ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And you know, like, and it's not a hard thing to do when we really look at where we come from. We don't come from a lot, so why does it take a lot? You know what I'm saying? We got to stop at it like we got to have a lot. We don't have to have a lot. I grew up I grew up on you know what I'm saying, like, don't get twisted, my pops hustled and stuff like that, but my mom was on welfare and this and the other. I never knew we were poor. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and sometimes we weren't poor, but sometimes we were, you know what I'm saying? But I never knew, you know what I'm saying? It was all about the quality of life. And, you know, sometimes we base our life's quality around stuff that just doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? So once hip hop can really kind of explain that and people can grasp that and move with that, then we get the opportunity to do some things that really do matter. And you know, and that's all in front of us. You know, like, that's exciting to me. Like, you know, I'd love to be one of the, you know, millionaires that spark that kind of energy.
Right.
And I realize, you know, like, I have to be a millionaire to do it, though. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
I do realize that I'm not one that's going to tell somebody that's got something that I don't have what to do. Right. But when I got what you got, then I got something to say. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's a good reason for me to wake up every morning, you know?
No, for real. So listen, a couple things. This is the part actually where I wanted to get to, where it's like, because you told me a bunch of stories and I wanted to hear all that, but I wanted to get to this part. But unfortunately, I got another show right after this. So I'm gonna ask you straightforward. Sure. If I can set up a time through you or MJ, I need a round two, because there's some, like, I wanted to get to, like,
we haven't even gotten to current events, bro.
That's what I'm saying. I wanted to get to now, Dres.
It's all good.
I got this is my second. I got another show right after this. So
it's my word, and I don't know if you've heard this before, but you remind me so much of Chi Ali. I feel comfortable right now.
So, I mean, I'll tell you this. So around that time, everybody said I either look like him or you.
Yeah.
Everybody said that shit.
We definitely could be cousins.
Everybody said that shit. So yeah. I need a round two because I want to get to where we are now.
Sounds good. I mean? Be my pleasure.
All right. So thank you very much. Listen, everybody. So we just had Brother Jay earlier. We had Dres right now. We're going live in a minute with Save the Hip Hop Culture. You and I are going to connect and come back for a round two very soon. Thank you, everybody, for rocking out with us. And thank you, man. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you.
Love is love, man.
All right, we'll link up soon.
Sounds good.
All right, peace.